popcorn? Let's fix this. Grip Power Hold and Seal gives our strongest hold and 5 times smooth seal.
If your mouth could talk, it would ask for
Polygrip.
Want a smarter way to mop? Introducing the new Swim Color Mop, an all-in-one cleaning tool with a 360-degree swim pad that goes twice as a regular mop that's guaranteed.
New advisory on Idalia just in. Florida is on alert. Tropical storm Idalia makes its way to very warm waters of the Gulf of Mexico. And we're breaking down all of the threats for you, as well as that timing, letting you know exactly when you need to be ready. And thank you for joining us here on Weather Underground. I'm Mike Bettis.
And I'm Felicia Combs. Idalia, of course, gaining strength with the last advisory. We're seeing the storm strengthen as expected at 9 million people in Idalia's code, but the impacts from this one could extend far out. They will extend far outside the code.
They certainly will. You see it on satellite here. It's getting a lot more organization to it at this point. We're anticipating a Category 3 major hurricane before landfall sometime early Wednesday morning.
That's right. You need to be making your preps right now. We'll start to see some of those very outer bands moving through by tomorrow. That's how much you want to be prepared.
So the whole west coast of Florida, up through the bend, even towards, say, the Apalachicola area, this is your day. Today is the day to prepare. We do have hurricane warnings right now along the Gulf Coast from Longboat Key all the way up to the Big Bend of Florida here.
Yeah. And so what that means for you is that the time is winding down for you to get everything done that you need to do. Take a look at the forecast code. Of course, this is going to continue to.
From here on out, it's every man and woman for themselves.
This game is about to get I'm prepared for it, but I think there's a few people here that aren't. The Challenge USA. All new this Thursday at 10, 9, 7 on CBS.
Warnings here, hurricane warnings, tropical storm warnings up all up and down the west coast of Florida. So a lot of areas needing to be prepared for this. Let's take a look here. It looks like a beautiful day with blue skies and just a few clouds. But we've got that changes that are coming. Of course, this is your last full day to prepare. When it looks gorgeous like this, that's all fine and great, Mike. But as we know, tomorrow it's going to be on you sooner than you think with those bands moving through with some feisty storms.
It is literally the proverbial calm before the storm, right? And so today is that day with the weather cooperating for you. You can get all your preparations done. You're packing your kit. You're gassing up the car. You're boarding up your windows. And you're planning your evacuation route if indeed you have to do that. Or you're just preparing to hunker down. Maybe you're trimming down the trees a little bit here. You're just preparing yourself, sandbagging, whatever it may be. You're preparing yourself for the worst that's to come. So take a look at the latest advisory that just came in, the 1 o'clock Central Time advisory. The winds went up just a notch here, so now we're at 70 miles per hour. We're 1 notch away from a Category 1 hurricane here. Pressure's dropping a little bit here, north movement at 8 miles per hour. On the infrared satellite, couple of things to notice here. Earlier on in the picture, you saw a lot of convection displaced here down to the south, but notice where the center is now, and we're getting this really confined convection or thunderstorm activity near that center of circulation. It was really small, then kind of this mini little blow up right near the center. So I think that's showing us indications of strengthening at this point. The winds going up and the pressure going down, indicative of that. And we'll basically at this point, going now through about landfall, we'll have pretty much non-stop recon missions into this with the hurricane hunters. We do anticipate a Category 1 hurricane, if not by, this evening, certainly by tomorrow morning, but I think it could happen maybe as soon as the next advisory at 4 o'clock. Notice by tomorrow evening, Cat 2, by Wednesday morning, right before landfall, Category 3, and then from there, pushing its way eastbound, eventually exiting probably somewhere along the South Carolina or North Carolina coast, still as a tropical storm. We'll even have storm surge through the east coast of the United States, but here's the immediate threat along the Gulf Coast. Really warm water, surge-prone coastline here, and you can see tropical storm warnings in effect here. That does include down around Marco Island, going inland here, I-75 and I-4. Hurricane warnings highlighted in purple here. That will include the Tampa Metro around the bend here, then areas like Tallahassee toward Apalachicola with tropical storm warnings. I mentioned we'll have impacts to go inland as well. Hurricane watches that extend up toward Gainesville into South Georgia here. Tropical storm watches around Everglades City, Key West as well, and then around Orlando up through Jacksonville. These are areas where tropical storm conditions could affect you. Where's the highest probability of hurricane winds? Going to be right here where likely the center of circulation is going to go. If you follow the track with the cone, that's going to be somewhere near Cedar Key, so that's where you likely to have the highest winds. As far as the the wind core. I think it's going to, at this point, forecast to be relatively confined, relatively small with its hurricane force winds, but tropical storm force winds will extend beyond that. It'll really depend on what happens with the intensity here. If we go through an eye wall replacement cycle, do we increase the wind field? A lot of things could happen with the internal structure of the system between now and landfall. But notice by tomorrow afternoon, outer bands directly associated with Idalia are now hitting us along the peninsula. Some of these storms could contain tornadoes, by the way. That's something to watch for. That's why today we'd want you to complete all your preparations, whereas tomorrow you can kind of hunker down in anticipation of stuff like this that's well away from the center. Here's the center down in here. We're likely to form an eye by tomorrow afternoon. Watch it then pull north and then northeastbound here. Surge on the right front quadrant. Also surge up here into the bend. Center circulation coming in somewhere near Cedar Key. But you can see all these bands that be very intense, heavy rainfall rates that could exceed an inch an hour close to the center. What do you need to be prepared for? Major hurricane reaching the Gulf Coast here within 48 hours. Life-threatening storm surges coming in and very high hurricane force gusts. Flash flooding and urban flooding likely because of heavy rainfall, Felicia. Some places might see more than 8 inches of rain come down in a day's time.
And that is definitely going to cause some issues. So you want to make sure that you are prepared for that with all of your supplies. Now, this is why we have the warnings, the hurricane warnings, the tropical storm warnings, to let you know that there's something that you need to be prepared for. And one of those locations in the path of this dangerous storm, that is Cedar Key. That's where we have Reynolds Wolf. Reynolds has been out talking to people as they're preparing for this storm. And, you know, if you live anywhere in the Gulf Coast, especially a place like Cedar Key, Reynolds, you're no stranger to being ready, to being knowledgeable about the possibility of a tropical system impacting you. What is the feeling that you're getting from people there, Reynolds?
I think it's just